to introduce this episode, we're going to kind of do like a part two of what we did on the last episode, which was talking about email readings. Lyra had talked about how she got into email readings, what it's kind of like as far as her process goes. She talks about, you know, what you can do, what are the different avenues on how she does email readings and what can come forth. And then I also shared my stories. I validated a few things for Lyra as far as email readings go and the things that she brought forward. The last episode I was attempting to show you because, and I think it's because the universe doesn't want us to show people, but I have printed out a few of the email readings over the years I've gotten from Lyra. And just to again highlight how extensive they are, hopefully I can show it.
Whoop, there it is. Whoop, whoop. Oh, that is so my bad right now.
Lyra's dad keeps messing with the technology and it is frustrating us, but it's just showing us we have to be silly. So,
Gotta be silly.
these are the email readings that I have gotten from Lyra, and they're very jam packed with detail and messages. She does a whole bunch of different things from like mediumship, pulling in spirit and messages with that, tarot and oracle cards. And now we're going to introduce a separate type of email reading that she offers, and it is called a charm casting reading. Is that right?
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean the motion term. I haven't come up with the creative title for this one yet, but yeah, charm casting. I like doing this too. It's more involved because there's so many different topics that charm casting covers. What is it? We got home, romance, finances, travel, job, friendships, self. I like that portion too because I
Mhm.
am a huge advocate for self healing and self look reflection, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I forgot what the other topics are, but it's a big, broad
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Spectrum.
Spectrum. Yeah. thing, I don't have the words now, but I do when I do my reading. But yeah.
I am testament to that because, like I said, I have worked with Lyra since 2020. And actually, one of the first services that I had gotten from her was an email reading. So, like I said, she's able to tap into your energy just from your name, a couple of questions, and she'll guide you prior to sending you the email reading. But look at how in depth this is, guys. I specifically pulled a few email readings where she talks about how she pulled charms, but we'll get to that a little bit later. I really want you to talk about, if you are okay with it, of course, talking about the difference between like what is the difference between an email reading and a charm casting reading? If in the email reading you use charms and other things, what is the main difference? How would one person being on your website, seeing the two different offerings, what is going to make more sense for someone to pick an email reading over a charm casting reading? Or how would you go about figuring that out, when to use charms versus just a typical email reading?
Well, typical email reading, I use the cards, I use intuition, I pull from your energy. I mean, I do that with all my reading, but in this particular case, I would totally just focus on the question and your energy. And then I might pull a charm or two for clarification or just for an extra bonus, or you know what I mean? Just to kind of give you a little bit more insight, a little bit more clarity, guidance, whatever it happens to
Mm-hmm.
be for.
Yeah.
You know how cards have meaning to them. If you
Yeah.
pull tarot, it means this, but I usually go more by intuitive feel,
Okay.
and what jumps out at me with this card, and then it usually kind of goes from there.
Okay.
With charms, I use strictly charms. I might pull a card or two for clarification, but it's what I do is I take a handful of charm and I trust that what spirit wants me to have for that person is in my hand. And then I
Mm,
have the chart in front of me and I close my eyes and I just sprinkle on the chart. And then I just kind of see where it falls. Anything outside of the chart is not used. So I just push that off.
okay.
Everything inside the chart, wherever it lands on whatever topic, that's the story I'm going to talk about.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So then it's so charm reading is more like a whole life overview, whereas email might be more specific to one topic.
Okay. Okay.
That makes
I
sense.
think I think you've sent me the chart. I don't have that one printed. I was trying to look for it before we jumped on, but I remember, I think you were like trying to get more momentum with your charm casting emails, and you had asked if instead of an email reading, you did a charm casting reading. And I always tell you, whatever you want to do, whatever you feel is best for me, is I'm always open to it. And I remember
You are
you,
my best guinea pig.
I, hey, I mean, if it gets me to open up more and to get more, connected with the other side, I'm all for it. I also I love healing because I can reflect back and be like, I totally reacted to a situation which would have been horrible, 6 months ago, and I've reacted totally different, totally grounded and logical, I guess, whatever. But with your email reading or I'm sorry, the charm casting, I remember like one of the email readings you took a picture of all the tarot cards and you explained all the tarot cards. And with the charm casting reading, I remember you taking a picture of it. Because is it a circle, the
Yes.
chart? Okay,
It's
and
like
then
a
is
pie
it
chart.
a
Yeah.
pie chart? Okay, so
Yeah.
because I was thinking, I couldn't remember if it was a pie chart and it had the different topics and categories, or if it was like a circle with inner circles, like smaller circles coming to a bigger one. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. But no, it was more of a
Okay.
pie chart. So I had each section blocked up for whatever that topic belonged to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do remember that. And it's kind of interesting because where there was a section where there's like no energy and no movement, there's no charms in that section.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I love when that happened. 'Cause like, oh, okay, so then, we'll just skip over that because there's nothing going on there.
Mhm.
Just go over. Yeah.
Would you say that, so in one of our previous episodes, we talked about signs and symbols from loved ones and intuitively and stuff like that. Would you say that the charms that you use have the same messages or whatever attached to it as it does through spirit and things like that? Or like with tarot, I know it usually sometimes comes with a book of some sort and it tells you the significance of the card and what it can mean and how it relates to other things like that. Do charms also come with a book, or how do you assign? I know you said you intuitively do it, but is there, for someone who's a beginner that may not trust their intuition as well, how could you explain what those symbols are, or how do you assign a message to that
Well,
symbol?
okay, so it's different for everybody. I will say that. It's different. There is no right or wrong way to do that. I know one of my friends, they look it up on Google.
Okay.
Okay, a cat means this, or the wolf means that, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. That's totally fine because I do that too sometimes, but I just can't make the connection. But most often, this is so. This is where we get into the mediumship. When I look at a charm, we work out the meaning for that charm. For me, a
Mm,
cat is independent, self-sufficient, very purposeful.
okay.
Okay. And so that's what my spirit team knows okay, when we show her the cat, and the cat and the charm, this is what that means for that,
Person.
section. But then you gotta consider all the charm is around it. So maybe I have the cat and the anchor. To me, the anchor is grounding and heavy,
Mm,
you know, or it
yep.
would have a broken heart next to it. So to me, that would mean, okay, so if you have the broken heart next to the cat, then that means you need to be more independent and be more
Mm,
self-sufficient. But if I have an anchor next to the cat, it will be like, okay, you're grounded in your thoughts and you're
mm.
very confident. You got your stuff together. You know what I mean?
This message feels like it is relevant to both of us.
Especially after this morning, yes. Isn't that crazy how that just came out?
Oh, universe, you are crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, today is pretty intense, Spirit is definitely around us today. Wow. I didn't even realize that till you said that, but yeah.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, this is literally the conversation that we just had off camera before we started.
It is, isn't it? Wow. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
validation, baby.
Because that's what just came to my third eye. That's what I saw. The broken heart, the cat, and the anchor. We got
So
you. I
listen
hear
to
you.
your own messages, girl.
Oh, that is the worst thing. You know how they say doctors make the worst patients? Yeah, right? We are the worst when it
Yep.
comes to ourselves, man.
Yep.
But yeah. I would like to do more email reading because I enjoy it. It really, again, I blast my music, my 80s hair band
Oh,
rock ballads.
love that.
I'm showing my age here, but I blast it. And then I'll have my coffee or tea, or sometimes I'll have a little drink of wine, to go with it, just to
Wow.
get really into it. But but yeah, and I'm in my office and I got my dog snoring away and just really, really get into that energy. And it's just sometimes it's hard to get out of that energy because it's just so it's peaceful. It's so
It's a
comfortable.
breath of fresh air.
Yes, yes. Outside of all the chaotic craziness going on
Yes.
around you.
How did you get into doing charm casting email
It is
readings?
again a Facebook group.
Oh,
So funny. Oh shoot, I forgot the name of the group. When I remember, I'll post it. I want to give them credit, but this lady was a teacher or a mentor in this group, and she would talk about it all the time. And I got so interested in it, and I'm like, "Wow, that looks like fun!" And a lot of people would love that. I think,
mhm.
but it hasn't really caught on. At least not for me, not yet. I do like maybe a handful of them a year. You
Okay.
know, but that's
Do you,
okay. It,
do you use that in your email readings as far as at least currently?
I do them in my email reading. It is an email service that I provide, but lately I've been starting to pull charms in my Zoom reading too.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's fun. They love it. They love it when I do it that way too. But I don't think a lot of people know what the charm reading does. So I'm glad we're talking about it.
well, I was going to say, I know that when I was doing the email readings at the beginning with you, you had asked me, this is something new I'm trying. This is something, I want to incorporate more. Are you okay with me doing it? And like I said, I'm always down for whatever you want to try out to see if it works, it doesn't work. Because I'm curious. I've never heard of email charm readings or whatever before. And back in 2020, 2021, again, these ones that I've printed out, I have a few examples of where you said that you've pulled a few charms just to get clarification and things like that. It's primarily an email reading because that I don't think you launched the charm readings just yet at this point in time. I think you were just trying to get momentum to do it, in my perspective at least. But I'll just read a quick little snippet. This is from April 14th of 2021 at 1:11 p.m.
No way. Awesome.
So now I'm definitely going to have to go through and read this one because of that. You know, I'm all about the synchronicities.
Yeah.
So in this email reading, I don't remember if I asked a question or not, or if I just said my usual, just give me whatever I need to hear. Yeah,
Yeah.
give me whatever I need to just keep going, doing the thing. And you said I'm going to try to show you where it's at in the email reading. So I'm like the third or fourth paragraph down. So you've already given me a pretty good chunk of guidance and messaging and healing. And then you say, I haven't had the opportunity to work with my charms lately. So I felt led to pull a few for you regarding your relationship with Zach, which is my now husband.
He's
We
not
were
gonna
going
kill
through.
me, is he?
No, he's not.
No.
He So just to give a little bit of background, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but we were going through a little bit of a rough patch emotionally and spiritually as a couple. And I just felt like I wasn't getting the thing that I needed out of our relationship. And I just wanted to know, why was I feeling stuck and where did I need to go? And so Lyra had pulled a few charms. So this is where it's going to go. You received double hearts, dragonfly, and an anchor. Ashley, your love is grounded within each other, and I hear that you are intertwined for life. Sorry, Zach. Your dragonfly signifies change and a new beginning. I feel your relationship is undergoing significant change. This may feel uncomfortable for a bit, but it is temporary, and you two will be in sync once again. This is a cycle of growth, maturity, and wisdom. You are extremely intuitive and you feel so deeply, so these changes will feel like it's more than what it actually is for you. I pulled two more charms for you. You received the sewing machine and an angel. You're on the mend and you're blessed. Your relationship is and will be an ongoing process, meaning it is going to go through some hard cycles, but they are and forever will be mendable or fixable. You two are divinely guided, as the true nature of both of you are deeply rooted individually as well as a couple. And then it goes into a little bit more clarity. You pulled a couple of cards regarding this situation that I was in at the time. And at the time, I reached out for a reading because I was feeling stuck and I needed guidance, clarification. What can I do better? Where am I lacking? How do I get past this hump of what we're going through right now? And I can say now, reflecting back, there really wasn't much that I felt that was happening. Like, I didn't feel like things were mending. I didn't feel like things were really changing. I didn't feel like, I just felt like we were stuck in where we were because of what we were going through together. And now in 2024, looking back, like, we are in a completely different period in our life, in our journey, in our relationship, our marriage. And right now we are in a transformational time in our relationship. And to read these words and reflect on what was happening back then, and to see that this energy is now being extracted from 2021 to, today, I can, again, going back to the last podcast, spirit has no concept of time. So yes, although we were going through the thick of it and things were stagnant and whatever, we have grown from what the situation was, and we have fixed a lot of what we were going through, and we're changing, and we're actually growing deeper in our love and our marriage for each other. And to just see that come to reality, back then as well as even now, it just goes to show you how powerful and how timeless these messages can be, and how reflecting back on these messages can even bring further insight and clarity to your situation and things like that. At least for me, that's how I have felt. And that's why I've printed out all of these, so that, and on our little break, because like I said, or like we said, our, the first episode was kind of ended abruptly, and because it's Spirit wants you to experience these things yourselves. Yes, we can sit here and talk about it until we're blue in the face because we enjoy doing this. Lyra, is very gifted. I've been working with her for 4 years. I wouldn't be on this podcast if I didn't believe in her gifts, her services. But then also she's helped me, and to be a testament to all of that and show you guys the email readings, like you have to believe it for yourself. You have to experience it for yourself. But then also at the end of the day, you have to do the work yourself.
I that is one of, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
Being open-minded to the messages that come through is very, very important in this kind of reading, even with mediumship. It takes hard work for spirit to come through with these messages because we don't vibrate at the frequencies that spirit does. We have to raise ourselves up, and they have to lower theirs so that we can meet in the middle. And the more you practice that, the easier it gets, and the more clarity and confidence and all that comes through. So I'm really very grateful when people come to me and they're just open-minded like you are and have been, because then it makes the energy really flow easier and really, really, you can get the message across. Even though, like you said, it didn't really make sense at the time, but you were open-minded enough to be like, well, it might make sense later. So that, for me, as the reader, the channeler or whatever, it really helps the energy to flow a lot easier and to get a lot more clarity through. So I think that's the big deal when you guys go for a reading to whoever it is, not just me, anybody.
Yeah.
Well,
and that, again, we bring this up in every episode, and I think it's just because for sure for me at the beginning of my journey, like 2016 or before that or whatever, I definitely had an expected outcome that I wanted to see. I had an expectation of the result I wanted to see. I had an expectation of the messages I wanted to hear. And that limits you. That, I don't like using the word block, but that blocks those messages from coming in because you've already said, this is what I want to hear. And if there's something different, it can't come in because you've already decided I want to hear this. So I think that being open is going to help, the readings and make more sense and bring clarity. But then also too, to again touch on what we keep talking about, spirit has no concept of time. So like, again, like I shared with that email reading, like, yes, we were going through the thick of it, but to now see and reflect back all of the changes and stuff that we made, like,
well, but one of the reader, sometimes it would be frustrating because people will automatically just shut you down. You'd be so closed off and so like, no, you're wrong. This is crazy. It's a waste of time. You're not real. Blah blah blah. Whatever they're saying to me, and I would be like, oh my God, but I know this is what I saw, or this is what I felt, and I would be on the verge of tears because I disappointed that person, or maybe they thought badly of me, or whatever. But I have come to learn, you know what? I planted the seed in that person, even though they didn't accept it at that time. It's okay. In time, maybe they won't, but hopefully in time they will come to understand, hey, this person said that. Maybe I just wasn't open to it at the time, So I view it, instead of getting upset and frustrated, I view it like I planted the seeds and now I have to back off. And that's where that whole I can't be attached to the outcome comes in, where because I want everybody to be happy, but sometimes you get that one or two person every so often, and it's just like, okay, I bless you, I'm done. You gotta just kind of walk away from that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and two, like you have to also think on this path that like something that has stuck with me through yoga teacher training school was you have to meet people where they're at. So
Yeah.
like I don't think I'm better than anybody. I don't think that I'm like spiritually enlightened more than the next person or anything. I'm just trying to figure my life out and like vibe. Like that's all I'm trying to do is just vibe.
Yeah.
Uh but like I looking like sitting here in 2024 and having the experiences that I've had, the healing that I've had, the messages that have come through, the growth that I've experienced. I mean, like, but right before we jumped onto these podcasts today,
Yeah.
I was giving you the visions that were coming to me.
Yeah.
5 years ago, 4 years ago, I would have been like, that's crazy. No way. Like, I don't believe any of that. There's no way I could have seen that, or, I don't feel confident in that. And it's just being open to whatever comes through.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do another plug here.
Mhm.
Um, I think it's perfect that we were talking about charm casting emails and things like that today because you recently in the spiritual mentorship and spiritual connections or whatever the name is Facebook group that
Yeah.
you and I are in on Facebook, you just posted a picture of some charms that you threw out, on a tablecloth or whatever, and you
Yeah.
asked everyone in the group, hey, there's no right or wrong answers, just come to the and comment and just say whatever it is that you feel comes to you. And I am, I always talk about how I work a muggle job and I don't do all the spiritual stuff full time, but I would like to. And again, there's that block that I'm putting, that limit I'm putting on myself, and spirit's trying to give it to me and I'm not allowing it.
Yeah.
And I wound up commenting on it, and I don't know anything about really signs and symbols, and I haven't given much time to assign like a sign or a symbol, any sort of message or anything. And I remember commenting on, I think there were two cats across a
An
fish
elephant?
and an elephant. Yes, that was the
Yeah.
last one. And
Yeah.
the way that they were
Yes.
laid out on the picture, I started at one, and then I just kind of went the way that made the most sense to me. And I was like, I don't know why I'm starting. The At the bottom was the cross, and
Yeah.
then it went a cat, then the elephant, then the fish, then the other cat or something. I don't know, whatever it was. But
Yeah.
I was like, I have never worked with charms before, and I've only gotten a few, readings where you've casted charms, and I was like, well, let's just play this game. And I love how in the Facebook group, we're starting to post a lot more, and even some of the other members are starting to post
Yes.
things,
Yes.
and
Thank you.
it's just so amazing the messages that come through and just how they can resonate. And you're like, I've never talked to this person on this group, let alone like in real life type thing. And everything that they said about whatever is totally spot on. And just to play with your intuition and be open to what comes, first thing that comes to your mind. They always say your gut feeling is your intuition. Well, I mean, that's the same thing with ideas and thoughts and songs and whatever that pops into your mind at that time. As long as you're being fully present,
Yeah.
that is what's coming through.
Yes, yes, and I'm really loving the participation. It's really, I get excited looking into
I
that
do
group
too.
now, right? We're starting to do a lot more together in there too, I believe.
Mhm.
We've been talking about it. But yeah,
Being on this journey and being on this path and being open to the other side leaves you in a very, very, very vulnerable state.
yes,
In the sense, not in the sense that anything bad is going to happen to you because you're open or whatever, but a lot of times people get brought to this journey and this path because of grief. They lost someone or they lost something, and it
yeah,
was so deep that they had to reach out to people that have also experienced that. And I know, like with losing my grandpa last year, um, I know that I went back to a place of work where primarily masculine dominated, and for me to be so emotional and for to be such like a dainty flower
Yeah.
in a world where there's a bunch of rocks, I did not feel safe. People, the guys would ask me, Ashley, how are you doing? Are you okay? And like they genuinely did care about me, and they genuinely did want to know that I'm okay, and that I'm okay.
Yeah.
um but because of the way that they view healing, and I can say that confidently, so if there are any guys watching this podcast that I used to work with, you know I would literally sit in my office and just like cry.
Aw.
And they
Yeah.
would know, like looking into my office, like, oh, don't talk to Ashley because she's crying and she's gonna like unload all of these emotions onto us, and we are uncomfortable. um
Yeah, but they
but
need to see that side. Getting
but
touch
they
the
do.
feminine side. Yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I am confident in who I am, and I'm secure in who I am, that I'm okay with crying in front of people.
Yeah.
um I've teared up a few times on a few of these podcast episodes already, talking about my path and my journey and things like that. So being in this group, there are people that are not secure and confident in showing people that vulnerable side. We live in a society where to be vulnerable is viewed as being weak. I
Yeah. Yes.
my I was to say my dad, God bless his heart, he's still alive. It's not like he's dead, so I'm not saying that to just blah blah blah. But I was a very emotional child, and I remember the times that I would cry, I was told stop crying, like knock it off. Emotions really weren't, especially like those vulnerable emotions of like sadness and heaviness and grief, those really weren't accepted in my household growing up, at least in my eyes. And to have people tell you, like, if you go to therapy you're weak, if you're crying you're weak, if you're showing people
Yeah.
this side of you, you're weak. And to be told that from a society, as well as like your home base people, people
Yeah.
don't want people attacking, like, you shouldn't feel this way because of XYZ, and you shouldn't do this because, like, we're trying to build a community so that we can raise, we talked about raising our vibration and our consciousness and our frequency to meet, halfway to the spirit world. A lot of people talk about like biblical times and things like this, and the reason why everything that's happening, globally right now, is to try to bring earth into this new frequency that's much much higher, and
Yes.
requires us to lose a lot of this denseness, and we
Yeah.
need to be more vulnerable for this stuff to come in.
Well,
And
it takes a lot of strength to be so vulnerable and to be able to feel the emotion and then be okay with not being okay. I think you
yep,
made a post about that too.
I did.
You did,
Yes,
yeah.
I
And
did.
talking people. And that's what I meant by I want to make sure we have the curious in there. I want to make sure we have those who maybe are not too sure but are open minded and you see what I mean? I don't
Yep,
mean and even if you're closed minded, as long as you're respectful, I welcome you
that's
too. That's what
really what it
I
boils down
want
to.
this group to be built on, trust, safety, uh have all
Respect.
the respect, especially respect. That's huge because
Yep.
it's just huge, especially with this energy that we're experiencing today. They're all
Woof.
coming out. Like I'm getting shaky because it's
It's intense.
very, very intense and very harsh.
Yes.
I don't know how to explain it. Like these people with the blinders on, and there's no other way but their way, and it's
Yep.
just like I don't go for that. You know, everybody has a right to what they believe in. Everybody on this earth has a right to have their own opinions, what they believe in, everything.
Oh, absolutely.
But the hatred, the anger, all that kind of stuff, it's too much. And
Yep.
I want to make sure the group is a safe space from all of that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the world is harsh enough as it is. We don't need to try to, like tear people down. I'm always the person that's trying to look out for the person that needs just a friendly smile or like a, hey, how's it
Yeah.
going type thing, in the world, just because it is a lonely time, and now we're going into the winter months, which means isolation. People are staying indoors more, and you're not getting the energy and the stuff from the sun that we're supposed to get, vitamin D and things like that. So like to have a close knit community where we can all experience our curiosity and practice and play and become open with messages. Like I know we're kind of going off topic from the charm reading, but it kind of all ties in. But like
Mhm.
in the Facebook group, there's a bunch of people that will ask for dream interpretations,
Yes.
or hey, like I posted the other day, when I went to go fill up gas at work, it was like 33333 and 88888, and I was like, oh, I love angel numbers and things like that. And if I were to post that on my actual Facebook page, I might get some people that are like, like, how can you find
Yeah.
inspiration from a gas station pump? And I'm like, how could you not? Like,
How could you not? The whole
that's
world is full
cool.
of it. Yeah, there's full of inspirations out there. Yeah. Even in your home, in your thoughts, everywhere.
Yes, yes.
But that's what I mean. There's that people believe that there's a lot of people who are the cookie cutter raised,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be in the box, where I think being outside of the box scares people. And I think
Oh, for sure.
everything that's going on right now, that people are scared.
Yeah. I mean,
They're
yeah.
staying in that little cocoon or bubble or box or whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
call it. And as soon as it's a lot, ooh, you feel it, and people just want to hide. And I don't think that's right. We should be able to express ourselves. And you disappeared. Oh, there you are. Help.
I definitely want to hide. Clearly, the universe wants me hidden because I keep disappearing when I like move randomly. Oh, there we go.
There
Bye.
you go.
Actually, you're just supposed to see the mountains. That's what you're supposed to do.
God, I want to be there so bad. Manifesting hard. There you are. Peekaboo.
And I think too, just like being on this path, like life is way too serious, and just
Yes.
I miss being a kid. Like we've talked about inner child healing, which I think we need to do an episode on the inner teenager healing too, and like tying all of that
Oh
in.
my
So
gosh.
Lyra and I have been working very hard with my inner child, and I had shared on the email reading episode, I had asked a question about what did I experience as a child that put me in this energetic cave, and
Yes.
we talked about that on the inner child healing experience podcast. And now I've told Lyra that like my inner child kind of feels okay, like she feels safe, she feels good. I don't get as much resistance with her now, and now I have the inner teenager that's coming out. And Wolf, oh, I got goosebumps.
What?
Wolf is she is pissed as all heck. And I was texting you yesterday
I
or
was
the day
gonna
before.
say, yeah. You did.
I was like, this keeps happening. I'm just gonna slam all the doors and I'm just gonna scream and I'm cutting everyone off. I'm gonna stop talking to everyone that I know, and I'm just, da da da. And then I like put in parentheses, I was like, oh my God, I don't know where that came from. Lyra, hello. And let me introduce you to the angry inner teenager, Ashley.
I'm like, whoa, here we go. Shit's about to
Yes.
happen. You go,
Yeah.
yeah, here it is. And you wrote, hi, Lyra, meet inner teenage Ashley. We're in for a doozy. And I go, what have you unleashed? And then you said, I don't know, but I am scared.
And you know what? Like now that I'm an adult and I'm reflecting back on, my childhood to kind of like deprogram and decondition myself from the things that I learned like from a young age. Like looking back at my teenage years, like I was an angry teen. I was a contained angry teen. So it's not like I was like going out doing hoodlum stuff with my friends or I was like
Yeah.
doing bad things, but like I listened to like the angry emo screamo music. I dyed my hair blood red and I wore dark eyeliner and I wore the studded belts and
Yeah.
I always had an attitude and like at one point
Oh
I
no.
put a I put a new doorknob on my bedroom door that had to have a key. My parents were so mad at me. I was like, well, I'm going to do what I want because I'm a teenager and that's what I want to do.
Wow. Yeah, but that angry teenager comes from a sense of um, insecurity and unfulfillment.
Uh-huh.
So there was something that I mean, not just you. I mean, everybody, anybody. Just
You
it
could, yeah.
comes.
You could spill my beans. I'm okay with it.
But, yeah, but there's a lot with the angry teenager not being heard, not being
Mm,
fulfilled. And
profound.
that's crazy. The energy is just insane today.
It is. Really it, I mean, like I said, we got abruptly stopped at the last episode because the universe is like, nope, they have to get an email reading themselves, and now I think
Yeah.
the universe is telling us knock it off because now they have to get a charm reading to experience it, and then we need to talk about all of the inner child, the inner teen, the adult self, and integrating for
Yeah,
another episode.
I
So you
think
guys that are
so.
listening, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.